Hello, everyone. I'm Saleha, and this is Chai, Chat, and Community. Tonight, we are talking about the rape and murder of a young trainee doctor in Kolkata and how the community across the world has rallied together demanding for justice. But before we start our conversation and what is happening in Melbourne, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting tonight, and I pay my respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. Meet my guests, Reejuta, Suman, and Tilottama. Thank you all for joining me tonight.
Hello.
Thank you.
Before we start, how about each one of you say something about yourself so that viewers know who you guys are. Reejuta, we'll go alphabetically, so we'll start with you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Reejuta. Pretty new to Melbourne, only 6 years. I'm with the banking industry here in Melbourne. And going back to India, I'm from Assam. I've lived a bit in Bangalore. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Suman?
Hi, I'm Suman. I have been living in Melbourne for last 8 years. Prior to that, I had lived in Europe for 6-7 years. I lived in United States, and I had lived in multiple cities in India, mostly in Calcutta, that being my birthplace, my hometown. But I have worked and lived for quite a number of years in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Pune. I worked as an IT consultant. So that's.
Thank you. Tilottama, lucky last.
Lucky last. So I'm Tilottama. I was born and raised in Kolkata, and I moved to Melbourne 12 years ago. I'm also an IT professional, unfortunately. Too many of us. Yeah.
This is great. IT is the way to go, isn't it? But tonight we are discussing something that is not something that we are proud of, with all of us having some sort of connection to Kolkata. I was born in Kolkata, raised in Asansol, and went back to Kolkata to complete my studies, and then did college and masters, and I worked there. So for all practical purposes, I call Kolkata my home. So for those who do not know what we are talking about, would one of you like to tell us what has happened? And why we are having this conversation tonight? Who would like to say? Yeah, Reejuta?
Okay. We basically are talking about the heinous rape and murder that happened in one of the most prestigious medical colleges in Kolkata, RG Kor. So basically what happened was a intern, like PG intern student, was brutally raped and murdered at her workplace one night. That's 9th of August. And what followed after that gave rise to this, worldwide protest against how the investigation was handled and what went wrong from day one. This is something that is quite new for all of us. I think we have not heard of such crime happening at workplace as such in any major metropolitan city in India, and it affected us so strongly that we decided we cannot keep quiet anymore. We cannot just keep posting things on Facebook or social media. I think we need to do something more than that. We have to step up. That's when we decided we have to get together to keep the word going and raise our voice.
Yeah. So how did the conversation for Reclaim the Night start between you and Tilottama?
Can I start with this? So what happened is, like, when we read the news, we talked to each other most of the days, and we were talking, and we both were very angry and frustrated about the whole thing, and how things were going. And again, like in Kolkata, in other parts of India, and worldwide, we saw Reclaim the Night everywhere, where common people were on the street asking for justice for the PG doctor and workplace safety. So we both were looking for an event in Melbourne so that we could go pay our respect and also like join the movement. Unfortunately, there wasn't any. So we both said that, okay, if no one is doing, let's do it. I know that we are not part of any organization. Hardly people know us. We are quite introverts, like hiding behind the curtain so in a gathering. But we just said that if no one joins, that's fine. We both will probably hold a poster and stand there. But we need to raise our voice. We need to step up and we need to ask for justice. This is not on. So that is how Reclaim the Night movement in Melbourne started. So we did both all the paperwork. We posted something on Bengalis in Melbourne community because we had no idea how to organize anything of that sort. So community members like Shuman, they all came in support and provided the information. All the paperwork was done. Thanks to council, thanks to Federation Square and Victoria Police who showed support and gave us all the right approvals. And yes, to our surprise, there was almost 200 people who joined this event. Not event, I mean this.
This
Uh,
vigil. Yep.
yeah, this vigil, because really everyone was really sad, affected, and angry with whatever was going on. And to our surprise, there were so many people on a Sunday, and it's unbelievable that they could be doing anything at their home, but they chose to join us. So, very, very grateful.
So, Shuman, why did you join?
I got to know from the post which Tilottama and Reejuta had put up in the Bengalis in Melbourne Facebook community. And that's where I felt that I would definitely join. I contacted them. There were quite a number of reasons. The first was the brutality and the amount of uh, pain that had the victim had to endure. Like crime is one aspect of it. We are always voicing this crime. It happens, like we can't live in denial saying that this is the first time it's happening. But the way the victim, like I haven't gone, or I am too scared to read the graphic details that are posted in various forums, but it comes to you. And that gives a kind of spine chilling experience. I had a dental pain couple of days back, and I know what pains means to our body. So that was really shocking. Secondly, it happened in Kolkata, which we proudly call as the cultural capital of India. And that's been my hometown. I have been born and been raised over there. So that was even more shocking to see this kind of crime is happening in Calcutta. The third reason is like my roots are still very deep. I go every year. I have my family, extended families, in-laws, sisters living in Calcutta. So I'm quite terrified. If this can happen to a doctor at our workplace, it can happen to anyone at any point in time. Uh, Also, it's about the political inertia in bringing out definitely the criminals. There has been an attempt to hush up this incident, saying that it's a suicide, and there is a
That was
kind of
what the hospital said, isn't it?
that was
When they
what the
called up
hospital
the
said.
parents. Yeah.
Correct. So it's not the criminal alone, it's an administration and other influential people who are behind and who are probably has a role to play in this entire crime or criminal nexus between different organizations. So that's also being a kind of a worry. Last but not the least, my daughter is stepping out into her teenage years, and uh, she will be a bit more independent in coming days. She has to travel alone, probably. So that was, from a personal perspective, that was a big concern for me. So I took my daughter. also I wanted her to know about these social issues, and she needs to know that whenever there is injustice, she needs to raise her voice. Australia being a bit
Fantastic.
protective society, but you need to raise your voice when you see injustice. You can't just keep live in a denial mode in these days. So that's my main reason.
Thank you, Sean. Um, Reejuta, this is for you and
Yeah.
Tilottama. Why do you think that this gruesome rape and murder has touched so many people and made them so angry? Because in I think it's in decades we haven't had this kind of vigil. You know, the mass anger that we have seen that is erupted across Calcutta, across different states of Bengal, different states of India. I know I'm part of a She Writers group. They are doing vigil in the states. There is one happen. That one has happened in England, and in fact, even in Pakistan. In fact, I met someone this afternoon for lunch, and she was saying the doctors there are up in arms and they are holding vigil. So you know, it's across the world. Why do you think this kind of anger? And there is a message from Chris. Thank you, Chris. I'll read it out after you both answer. Why do you think this anger?
Um, what I feel is each woman, at least from my own personal experience, we have gone through such sexual assault in smaller or bigger,
All of us have.
amount, or
Yeah,
what do I
all of
say?
us have.
All of
Yeah,
us have
like
at
incidents.
every level while growing
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
And all my life I've heard, like, my mom being the protective mom, don't go out when it's dark, come back home, calling me continuously if I don't pick up the call. That anxiety, and teaching us, don't talk to strangers, don't go to places where you feel it's unsafe. As soon as this news started to go up in media, I was asking the same questions to my sister. Um, how, like, she's a PG medical student in Mumbai at the moment, and I'm like, "Are you okay? Are you in the hospital? Are you in the hostel? Do you have security?" All these questions I was asking. So it
So
just,
it
I
touched
think,
a chord in you because, yep,
yeah,
it touched a chord in you because this is so similar to
yeah,
the young girl who was killed. Yes.
yes, and I think a lot of women in India and the globe are recognizing this now, that they have gone through this. People are going through this. Their future generations might go through this. So, if not now, when? When do we stand up for not just ourselves, for each one of us? Like, give voice to people who maybe are not in a position to stand up for themselves. And like Shuman was telling, a lot of them are mothers, like, of girls. I think that is another very pivotal point that a lot of women are talking about. Like, I worry about my daughter, so why shouldn't I stand up? It has also hurt people because we have always seen influential and powerful people trying to stop everything from getting, derailing processes, muddling up investigations. This has happened many a times, and I think people are just fed up now. Yeah, that's why I believe, as far as I think, that it has
Yeah.
hit everyone very, very personally.
Thank you. Tilottama?
So for me, it has hit me personally because I hail from Kolkata. I'm a native. And I was always proud of the city. I've lived there, I've worked there, I've taken public transport in the night. But still, like, I know everywhere is unsafe for a woman, probably, but I still had that faith that Kolkata is probably a bit safer than other parts of the world. So here, on 9th of August, this happened in a government hospital where a doctor who, during her duty hours, was abused and, killed. So I just couldn't believe it that this happened in Kolkata, the city which I was very, very proud of. So that was something, it's mostly disbelief that I'm not proud of Kolkata anymore. This cannot go on in my city. Again, like during Nirbhaya case, we heard the flip side of the society saying that, oh, she was outside, she was out in the night. Girls shouldn't step out in the night. She will be raped. So that is her responsibility. But now what? Like this question goes out to those people who says always points finger on the victim that probably that was her fault.
Always a woman. Always
And
a woman.
I don't know, there is some kind of lack of respect for a woman. There's this deep rooted patriarchy, which I blame personally. And I feel like people are understanding the downside of patriarchy, and people are raising voice. It's not for them, maybe for their daughters, for their mothers. They have seen them suffer through the patriarchal, shackles. Though India, it has reached Mars, it has landed the moon, but we are still so deeply rooted with these kind of malpractices. It's not cool. And yeah, I think that's why people just took the streets.
I'm just going to show some comments, and there are some questions that have come up too. So this is from Chris.
Thank you, Chris. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for always motivating us.
No, and
This is
when we
sorry.
actually reach the community, Chris, Shumon, like everyone just joined very selflessly and
Yeah. It was
very
very,
great.
very
And that's what
Yes.
that's what we want, isn't it? The community to rally together.
Yeah,
So
Absolutely.
this is a question, Chris. I can see your other question. I have that. I think because we work together so much over the last 4 years, we know what kind of questions we both ask. So I will ask that at the end. There is Sroshi who's watching from Delhi, and Reejuta, this is what she's saying.
maybe mine in.
It could be
Yes.
mine. Yes,
Yeah.
it could be my
I think
daughter.
it's-
My daughter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I know even now, if my girls go back to Delhi, I am so paranoid.
Yeah.
That they are by themselves, and they live with my brother. My brother's single, so he goes off to the office, and so they are dependent on Ubers and their friends and all of that. And I'm always worried. I don't know, because although they speak the language, it's an accented Hindi or Bengali that they're speaking, so immediately. So every time they're there, so I understand what this is. So I would. Chris has a question for all three of you. Several cases have occurred after this incident. What, in your opinion, is making men complacent to committing this over and over again? I'll start with Shuman first. Shuman, apparently, rape in India is not new. We have seen it, and now we know more about it because of media talking openly about it. From the time we were young, we were always told, don't go to this mama, or don't go to that kaka, or don't go to that dadu. This has been a problem for years. My generation, my mother's generation, my didima's generation, it has been a problem throughout. And yesterday I was told, in India, a rape is committed every 16 minutes. Hiroshi, if you're watching, can you tell me if this is correct or not? Because you would know. And I was reading Google, and they said that everybody wants to know about the rape and murder that has happened in Kolkata, but people want to know the gruesome details of the rape. And that is a problem with our society. We are so depraved. So Shuman, why is it that men are still so complacent?
I think there are multiple reasons for that. And the first one definitely is fundamental education. So education, I don't mean degree. There's a difference between educated and enlightened. So I'm talking about the later, the value, those kind of things which are imbibed in our very childhood. The second one is definitely poverty. I think people are growing up on the street. People are there are kids on the street who nobody cares for. So being left out, living in a non-inclusive society, uh, tends people towards crime. The third is lack of exemplary punishment. Many a
Yes.
times, what happens is we pick up a scapegoat from this entire ordeal, and then the bigger ones or the influential ones, they just get scot free. There are many cases, like for example, the murder of Jessica Lal in Delhi. Like the person
Oh,
was left.
yes.
So there have been multiple cases, and people with money and power, they often think that they can get away with any kind of crime with their influences. So I think these are the various root causes for the crime on women, particularly. To So the education system, the conditioning, the upbringing of a person, and the lack of exemplary punishment for the powerful and the influential. And obviously there are other, the patriarchal issues that we say to suppress women's voice, whoever has protested, and those kind of things are there. But if you go to the root cause, these are the three things I feel are the
Yeah.
inherent
In
causes of.
fact, when Jessica Lal was murdered, we were living in Delhi, and Jessica Lal's brother used to work with my husband. So, and one of my friends, I mean, you know how you know people through people and all the people who saw it happen decided not to say a word because they did
Correct.
not want to get involved with the police. And the man who killed her, who murdered her, he was very politically well connected.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah.
today, we don't know who's actually done it. Is the man who is in jail, is he just being made a scapegoat? Nobody knows. Shreyoshi wants to ask you a question, Shuman. He says, poverty does not permit rape, does it?
I was
Poverty.
actually going to, I beg to differ about the poverty thing because we've seen a lot of influential men rape women. So I don't think it depends on which class of society you belong to. It's a mindset. Probably it's more like, anger somewhere. They just want to show their power on something or
Masculinity.
masculinity, maybe,
No, I'll talk
which is
about
a
the poverty. Like
certain masculinity. Yeah, sorry.
poverty impacts your entire growing up process. So I'll talk why I talk about poverty. Uh, I mean, when I travel in Calcutta, many a times my car halts at a particular signal, and then I see a girl with 5 or 7 years. She's carrying a small brother who is maybe a month or so, and begging on the street. So what kind of value can you instill in these circumstances? So poverty might not be directly influencing, but there is an element of your upbringing which is related to the kind of social strata you are coming from. So that has an impact on your value systems. You are seeing rapes, murders on the street each and every day over there. So that that kind of thing makes you very hardened, and you don't think twice before committing a crime. So that way, it is somehow related to. And poverty leads to a lot of other kind of things like alcoholism, drug abuse, and all those things. All those kids over there in Shialda station, I've seen openly
Yeah.
sniffing den rights and things like that. So those kind of things are inherently related to poverty and your social structure.
Also, I think in a few years, maybe few years, the population is going to get skewed a lot because women infanticide is real, is very, very real in
Correct.
India. I mean, I have two girls. I was told that my family is not complete because I don't have a son.
Right.
Coming from an educated person, not somebody who is uneducated, not from somebody who is not from my Bapir Bari, so to speak, but I was told, yes. And this is very, very prevalent. And I remember when we were living in Hyderabad, we would hear stories of new mothers and fathers who would take their 1-day-old or 2-day-old child, if she was a girl, and stuff rice in their mouth.
Right.
And kill the baby. When I had my younger daughter, we did not, in India, if you have a child, you cannot do a sex test. You go with whatever. The reason is because the minute they know the fetus is a woman, is a girl, they'll abort the fetus.
Yeah.
So when I had my younger daughter in Delhi, I said to my OBG, I said, I don't care whether it's a girl or a boy. I don't want any more children, so tie up my tubes. And she was like, are you sure? And I was like, yes. I was left open on the operation table. I had a C-section because I had like about 15 hours of labor pain. And she went out to my husband to ask him if it was still okay for her to tie up my tubes, because my second child was also a girl.
Yeah.
Correct.
This is crazy. This is still happening. So we have lots and lots of questions.
You faced this 25 years ago.
30 years ago. Yep.
30 years ago. So I know a set of friends who has 2 lovely daughters, and educated people go and tell them, oh, abhi तीसरा कर लो, तीसरा कर लो.
I've been told that. Yes.
राखी बांधने के लिए हाथ चाहिए.
Yes,
I couldn't believe my ears about this. I mean, so it's still prevalent.
And also, like, since you brought up something in Andhra Pradesh, because we have lived for some time in South India, I think one of the reasons why female feticide or infanticide is so prevalent is because of the huge, again, another social issue of dowry, which is very, very prevalent.
Oh, yes, that's another one. Yeah.
It's like our mind will blow. My mind blew when I hear stories of their system of dowry and why parents are so tensed when a daughter is born, because they have to keep saving for the dowry right from the time they're born. So yeah.
And if
we were going to do this in 30 minutes, it's 27 minutes, and I have lots of questions. So
when Bengali started talking, I mean, yeah.
Okay, there is someone from Kolkata who is here. Shibu, I am very impressed. So here is a question, or maybe a statement. Thank you for watching, Shibu. Argument for rape because the boy man is hit by poverty is hollow and baseless. Suman, that was more for you.
No, I say there's a spectrum of crime. Like, it's not that it's happening in one part of the society. So different part of the society is doing crime for different reason. It's not one single reason. That poverty is not related. I mean, crime is not the outburst of poverty. Like, there are multiple reasons. This is one of the things, because your upbringing, quality of education, your value system is often related to the kind of financial situation you are having. So, and then there are crimes happening because if you are living on the footpath, you get hardened to those kind of social. It doesn't impact you after a certain point. And it doesn't mean that the only poor people is committing crime, or that's the thing. But there is a definite linkage. If you want to address crime, you have to address poverty. That's my message.
Well, there is Chris is saying that, Suman, even the most elite commit the most heinous crimes. Maybe it's just an individual mindset.
Correct.
And okay,
the elite commit crime because they know with their power and influence they can.
Yes.
So that's what I'm trying to say. There is a spectrum of crime. There are different parts, like it's not one size fits all or one problem that's leading to crime. There are multiple issues which can be tied to the criminal activities that we are seeing over a period of time. The elite, the rich, powerful, they commit crime because they know that they can buy
and they'll go scot-free.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I feel
Uh,
there is some kind of a rape culture going on because, when people actually start trolling celebrities, like with death threats, they also give rape threats to female.
what?
I
Yeah,
Yes, it's
it's
it's a
happening
very
on social
it's
media.
on all social media, all platforms, and like some Bollywood movies, like objectifying women, and like I'll quote. I actually saw this on a Dhruv Rathi video that this dialogue from Akshay Kumar's movie Tawaif ki lutti izzat or Tismar Khan ka whatever namumkin hai. I exactly cannot quote it, but yeah, in a Bollywood movie acted by a responsible actor, like these kind of dialogues, Tawaif ki lutti hui izzat. I mean, don't glorify the rape culture.
I think
That's right.
Bollywood is responsible for a lot of harm that
Yeah.
that goes. So anyway, going back to what we were talking. So what are you advocating for, and how is it different to the many incidents that we hear of regularly? I stopped reading Indian newspapers totally because of this. The many incidents that we hear of in India, because we haven't seen this kind of community participation in Melbourne, and especially because you guys just didn't plan it over like 3 weeks. You planned it
No,
over, say, a week,
2 days.
maybe
two
not
Two
even
days.
days.
2 days.
2 days.
Exactly two
Right.
days, Saleha. I'm not kidding. It's
There
just
you
two
go.
days that we
So,
got all the permits.
so now my chacha is watching. Lalcha, tumi dekho. Thank you, Shuman. You are the flavor of the evening. Okay. He says, I agree about your point of poverty, not directly, but somehow it relates with the matter. So,
Yeah, I think I agree. Like it's a dotted line because when there is poverty, there is then education goes down, and then the ripple effect of again like not having proper education, not having that environment where you're nourished, where you're given some kind of values and hardening. So it's not directly. I think that's what I think Shuman also wanted to say.
Value and
It's a direct.
education, they are very different things, right? Like someone coming for a very, very poor family can have
Yeah,
more values
values.
than
Then yeah,
someone
agree,
who's
and
agree.
values start
exactly.
at home.
Yeah,
Values
Values
start at home with
start at
parents.
home. And
Doesn't
we are
matter with
responsible
social.
for inculcating good values to our children if we decide to have children. It is a responsibility.
yeah.
Okay, so going back to what are you advocating for? Shall we start with you, Tilottama, this time?
Absolutely. One and only, the first and foremost thing is free and fair justice. Like we've already seen this incident being politicized at every level, authorities trying to hide something, CBI producing different reports. It's with the Supreme Court. Free and fair justice. It's the simple ask. Second is definitely like workplace safety. So women are not asking for protection, that, oh, you have to protect me, being my father, being my brother, being my brother. And I can go anywhere I want, even at my workplace. I need to be safe. Please stop attacking me. I think that's the second ask, and we totally align with that. And third is probably, they should do something to change this rape culture and introduce some kind of value education or moral science classes for children growing up in India. I don't think that's there as part of the
Yes.
There is
curriculum.
moral science, but sex education is not taught.
Yeah,
Right.
And that for
Sorry.
me
Sex
is a problem.
education.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sex
Sex is
education.
such a, shush word in India that we do not talk about it. The
yeah,
minute you say sex, there's a connotation of, oh my God, we will not talk about this. But, and
yeah.
this is
Like
what happens.
Children growing
And
up in India, they don't know the difference between good touch and bad touch. Where
no,
I have friends here whose daughters or children are growing up here, like they are even 3-4 years old, started going to school childcare. They are taught about good touch and bad touch. Why will Indian children not know at an early age?
and
yeah,
in,
like
in today's
and
day and age,
hmm,
Correct.
yeah. like just to expand on that, what Theo and you were discussing, like just the basic, even the basic concept of consent. What is consent? Why it is important? What basic human ethics? We in India, kids are doing so well in academics. They are doing well
Yep.
in music, dance, and so many other things. They are burdened with so much, but this basic sense of being a good human, I think, is left behind
Yep.
somewhere.
I agree.
Yeah.
And
So
I
those
mean, for me,
changes.
even the boys should be taught about
Yeah.
good and the bad touch.
Yeah. Definitely.
That's
Absolutely.
important. I mean, I think the onus is always on the girls
Yeah.
to learn about it, but the boys should also be taught what is a good touch, what is a bad touch, and how does it happen. Shuman, and there is another question that is coming for you. Heads up, because Chris just texted me saying, "Can I ask Shuman a question?" Shuman must be thinking, "Why did I agree to
My
this?"
God,
But
he's the star of
No,
the
no,
show.
I'm happy to take questions.
okay. So what you were one of the speakers at the vigil, which I didn't attend, couldn't attend because anyway, whatever happened to me. So what are you advocating for? What would you like to see? What change would you like to see? And we all of us keep thinking, what is it in for me? Like Shreyoshi said, it is because what if it was my child? Tomorrow you will go to Kolkata, and I'm sure you will be thinking, what happens when my daughter goes to Kolkata? And now my girls don't want to go to India. And to be honest, I am very relieved somehow that I don't have to worry about them. But what are you advocating for? What would you like to see change? And the question has already come. So after you finish, I will ask you this question.
Correct.
Chris, I've got it. Yes.
Okay. Right. I think I said the same thing in the vigil as well. Definitely the punishment for the criminals. That's the first thing. And not only for the criminals, people who have been supporting the criminals, who had created this ground or the platform so that such a crime of such dimension can be done over there. That's the first thing. That's a justice from a social perspective, from the social society. But to a bereaved parent, I don't know if this means justice. Tomorrow, if my daughter doesn't come home, I don't know, like, what is the definition of justice? So to a bereaved parent, I think there is nothing. I mean, the prosecution of the criminals will probably give them some kind of a kind of closure, but that's not enough. There definitely needs, like, we have not learned from the past. That's another thing. This this kind of thing happened in Delhi, Nirvaya case. We had seen, if we go back, there has been the case of Aruna Shanbag, a famous case when she was kind of raped and almost killed. She didn't. She lived on, but almost like a vegetable. So these kind of things keeps on repeating.
Mizoram
Like now,
recently.
yeah.
Mizoram.
And if you open
Thane, two
the
children.
newspaper in India, we get these things every day. And it's not located to Kolkata in India. It's a global phenomenon. There is no place where crime towards women doesn't happen at all. So we need to think of, like, what's going wrong. And there are many things that we can probably ask for. One is the change of mindset of people through value systems, through value educations, through bringing in people into those kind of education. Second thing is additional safety measure from women. I just saw a very knee-jerk reaction in Calcutta saying that okay, we'll not have women working at night, please try to reduce their working hours. It's not only the doctors. There are nurses working in hospital. They need to work at night. You can't just say that just take away the don't give
Night
women
shift. Yeah.
night shifts kind of things. There are people who needs that. It's for their livelihood. So you cannot. There needs to be some kind of innovative ways of dealing with this. I put an example that I was working in Calcutta. My home was 15-20 minutes from office, but there was a rule that a women employee would not be the last one to be dropped in a cab. So,
Yep.
and there can be a question like why my safety, like why I need to be with a male colleague. But we are not living in an ideal world. Our journey is towards the ideal world, but in the short term we need to build a kind of safety network through colleagues, through friends or something like that, so that when somebody is working in night at odd hours or in some places, I mean, this will not, I'm not saying this will stop crime, but these are some of the things which needs to be thought about. Like, we need to do some introspection that why this is happening again and again and again. So these are some of the things that I want from this process to come up. And finally, that roti kapra makan are not the basic needs anymore. It's roti kapra makan and suraksha as well. That's the basic need.
Suraksha. Yep. Safety. Suman, do you want me to show you the question?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
If to do with the lack of education, the elite people openly talking of concept. Again, like, as I mentioned, there is no one single cause. There are multiple reasons of a crime. And when I talk about poverty, I say it, when you want to attack crime, attack poverty as well. Try to elevate people, elevate their financial situation, because we were talking about good touch, bad touch, sex education. There are 50 to 60% of the kids in India who doesn't even go to school. So how will you educate them if they continue to live in those kind of poverty? So that's where I'm saying it's not the only cause of crime, but it has a relation to the crime. It doesn't mean that whoever is poor will commit crime. There are definite value systems. And when I say that there is a difference between educated and enlightened, it goes across the society. For example, I remember we had a kind of fake, no, that was not the age of fake news, but Ganesh idol drinking milk kind of thing.
Milk, yes.
Then a cobbler came up and he showed that this is a capillary action. So that guy was poor, but he was enlightened. He was able to challenge, which many of us with our so-called education and with our all those kind of upbringing, we were not able to question that. So poverty is not the single reason for crime, but if you are trying to address crime, poverty is one of the areas that you need to look around. If you want to eliminate crime, we need to eliminate poverty as well. So poverty is one aspect. There is other aspect of the male ego. Like whenever I see some women coming and questioning me, I'll try to suppress that person. And then there are different ways of suppressing. And this is rape, murder. These are the final things. And rich and the powerful is also, like, if we take numbers, it's rich and the powerful are, they are committing this crime in huge numbers. And that is because they have connections. They either politically connected or somehow they can hire a great lawyer and they can get away. So there are different reasons.
There is a word in Delhi called jugaad. Everything you can do with jugaad. Starting from getting a railway ticket to covering up a murder.
And there is a pride in violating the rule. Like, I have gone through red light. I mean, people take pride on that. So crime doesn't have one single reason. These are multiple reasons, and you need to attack it from different areas. But what I want to say that we are not learning from our past mistakes, and this is happening again and again. So there needs to be substantial amount of introspection that what are the causes, and there is no single cause. Crime is a complex subject. There are social scientists who are dedicatedly into this, and I'm not an expert on that, but there are multiple areas that needs to be looked into if you want to address crime.
Absolutely. Before we end, girls, do you want to say something, how you want to bring in change? what you would like to see?
Yeah, Thilo, do you want to go first?
I'm still
Wow.
thinking the answer.
Okay, while you think,
Okay.
I will tell you what my
Yes.
idea of a utopian
Give us
world
some
is.
cues.
No clues, no. I mean, I would like men to be involved in the conversation. I have been talking about this for years and years. Get men involved. Teach boys. Teach boys to respect women. And the onus is on the family. Before you send your child out, whether your child is 2 years old or 20 years old, out into the world, teach him respect. Teach him good touch, bad touch. Good touch, bad touch does not mean women, you be safe. Tell your son, this is a bad touch and don't touch a woman.
Yeah.
I think that is it. As a mother of two young girls, I know the fear I used to go through and still went through after I moved here. Like I said before, when my girls used to travel, take a taxi and go and meet their friends. Before, I think my elder daughter's friends were like, we'll just pick you up. My younger daughter was too young when she came, but she would always want to go here and there. And now, if she wants to go, her father goes with her. My brother can't take 1 month off to chaperone her here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's what it is. So I want men to take the responsibility, and I also want the older men, the men that the two of us were talking about in the buses who would push themselves against us. I want them to learn how to respect women.
Yeah.
And this is a story across all of us who have lived in Calcutta, how terrible it was for us to take public transport.
Yeah.
So that's my
Actually,
two
still
bits.
is.
I mean, very honestly speaking, I'm very, very privileged because my parents, my husband, the boy I'm married with, they are quite progressive and they've never stopped me from, raising my voice or talking my heart out. So that way I have been like very privileged. But of course, like at work, this casual sexism, tu to ladki hai, अरे अकेली लड़की इतनी दूर जाएगी. So I mean, this has been a constant struggle, fighting the world. A good thing is, like, I didn't have to fight this battle at home. So, but I'm sure there are women out there who are fighting it every day, every second. Their
Absolutely.
husbands,
They
their
are.
father, uncles, everyone who has been trying to lower their voice and stuff. But if I could make any change for future, is something probably I would like to work in this area a little bit, and like not directly or anything. If I see someone who is getting abused by someone, I would probably help them raise their voice. Like if they can't do it, I'm happy to raise the voice for them and stand with them. And if I don't have children, but if I have a boy, I would definitely try and inculcate that from the day he is born, that you have to take responsibility and respect a woman. There's no choice, and no means no. I would definitely try
Absolutely.
that from my end.
Because marital rape is big. We don't
Yeah.
talk about it. That was
Yeah.
one of the questions that Chris asked. Chris, this was not the forum to talk about it, but marital rape is huge, huge, huge.
Oh, yeah.
So going back to what you were saying, Tilottama, somebody posted a poem in Bengali on Facebook, which my cousin shared, which is actually, it resonated with me, and it's exactly what you were talking about. She talked about how, and I'm guessing this is, just a scenario, not that's happening. She talked about how her baba, kaka, dadu were, and along with kakima and mother and her and brother, they were all sitting and discussing how to do some renovations to the house. So while the kaka and the baba and the dadu were talking, kakima said, but you can also do this. And so the men were like, you are a woman. What would you know? So she was hurt. So she went to the kitchen. When she went to the kitchen, this girl's mother said, why are you arguing with with the men? You are a woman. It is not your job to argue with the men. You have to just cook and clean. That's your job. That's another woman telling another woman who would be at the most five years older than her. And then she said, the mineral water person came to deliver water. She said, when the bell rang, I went, opened the door, and I was getting the mineral water inside. And then my father said, why are you lifting it up? Because the bottle is very heavy. And then, so my brother now knows that my sister cannot even lift. She's so weak that she cannot even lift a mineral water bottle. You know, and stuff like this. Why are you jumping? Why are you dancing? You're a woman, you're a woman, you're a woman. So this is what we need to change. We can do, while we are fighting for women's rights, let us also fight for this right.
No, and like since the day we were born as women, we've been fighting this battle at every front. So yeah, we're happy to continue.
We'll end with you. We'll end with you, Reejuta.
Yeah, I think both you and Tilo have spoken everything, but just to say that, like Tilo, I have not faced much problem at home because my parents, my husband, all of them have been champions of free speech and education, and you do what you want to do kind of thing. But what I would like to change is for women to understand that they are powerful. They don't need to look back and think why I cannot do it.
And women need to support women to think that they're powerful. Like
as families, as friends, as cousins, as sisters, we need to pull people up who are looking for that kind of support, because not everyone comes from that kind of a privilege. So we have to understand if someone is being meek or weak, it's conditions, it's generational conditions, I think, which is,
it's always intergenerational.
Yeah. And women have to stand up. It's enough is enough. We just can't be putting things under the rug anymore, even if it is inconvenient, it's embarrassing, it's painful. We have to talk, because talking can lead to some solution in the future. Maybe not in just a couple of years, but down the line, I feel these conversations will help. Like that, even four of us talking today will help someone.
Hopefully.
I'm hoping.
We all live in hope. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I will be in touch in the next 15 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye.
Have a good night. Okay. Bye.
Bye.